Dan and Corey here, welcoming you in to Libservative.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back.
Yeah, welcome in to another rousing rendition of Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. Nobel the Bodysnatcher tonight, dealing with the same shit he was dealing with last week. We're not going to give him a hard time. But he, as always, is Corey Walsh, if he would unmute himself. You're still muted, buddy.
Did you? So mine was muted, and then it was muted. I unmuted it. Did you remute it?
If I did, I didn't do it intentionally. I'm just trying to get you to shut up.
And he's Dan Griffin.
Corey, it is spending bill season once again. Why do we have to go through this every year?
Because our government loves to pass a large and omnibus. Did I say that right?
Omnibus, you got it.
Right before Christmas, because everyone just stuffs in everything that they want to inside of it, because no one's going to take the time to read it, because they all want to get home to their families. Was it fucking Massey? Oh my God. There was someone who called this fucking happening like 4 months ago. And I wish we had Bella here to look this up right now. I'll tell you that much.
It happens. What happens every year? It happens every year, and then people lose their minds over the
last
shit
time
for the
the
wrong reasons.
stopgap bill happened. Right. I believe it might have been Massey, but he talked about how he's like, he goes, this is what's going to happen is we're putting the stopgap bill in. And then 3 months from now, it's going to be 2 weeks from Christmas. Everyone's going to rush in. This bill is going to be put together by everyone putting their pieces in. No one's going to have time to read the 10,000 pages or however many pages it is. And everyone's just going to hurry up and sign on it and pass it just so they can get back home.
Yep, you were right. It was Thomas Massey from the Hill a few days ago. Massey dubs himself Nostradamus over massive Christmas spending bill. Representative Thomas Massey, Republican out of Kentucky, dubbed himself Nostradamus, and he said, what did he say? Why the fuck is my screen going all crazy? For accurately predicting that Speaker Johnson would use the Christmas recess to force a massive spending bill through Congress, Massey said on Tuesday, and that was, I don't know what Tuesday that was. This is, it was just this past Tuesday. So he predicted it just a few days ago. Yeah. Or yesterday. I guess it would be yesterday. Massey was referring to. So after claiming he would not, by the way, Speaker Johnson claimed he would not do this. Johnson is embracing a DC tradition that's nearly as old as decorating Christmas trees. That's the whole thing about this, Corey.
Wait.
We do this every year, and people always flip out about it every year, and they flip out about it for the wrong reasons. So, I don't know. We'll get into that.
You labeled the title of this episode, Do Not Pass This Bill. In all caps. Rocky Winter says, what is this? Do not pass the bill. It's like, I don't know. I'm figuring it out with you, dude. I'm working on it. Also,
honestly, that is the the trending hashtag on Twitter.
This is a very if it bleeds, it leads title of the episode. And I didn't even see the title until Rocky Winter 99 pointed it out. So it's just kind of funny to me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
Hey man, this is a trending hashtag on Twitter right now. Go look it up.
Is it?
Go look. Yeah, go look up.
Oh, okay, that was smart. That are
freaking
on
out.
mate.
Yeah. I'm trying new things here at Libservative.
Dig it.
Anyway, but before we dig into the spending bill, what did we learn this week, Corey? What you got for us? What you got for things learned? Other
Okay,
than, we're passing another massive spending bill. Shocker.
It's good stuff. I learned some good stuff, Dan. That's what I learned this week. I learned that the fungus among us and bacteria of that sort might actually help be the cure to like some of the issues that we're dealing with that are just persistent, that they just stick around like herpes. And one of them
Are you
is
going to
called...
do like the Joe Rogan psilocybin lecture?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm just
There's
asking.
a fungi called the Chernobyl black fungus. And after the 1986 Chernobyl disaster, scientists discovered a black mold-like fungus, Cladosporium spherospermum.
Oh, Corey trying to read big words. Here we go.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know Latin, Dan. Thriving in the highly radioactive environment of Reactor 4. The resilient fungus has adapted to radiation levels lethal to most life forms and can even use radiation as an energy source. And so basically, I don't know if you knew this, but radioactive is kind of a big deal.
I don't have a degree. I don't know anything.
I don't have a degree in science. But this fungus is just over there just chomping away at radioactive stuff. And then there's another one that I learned about. And this one is called Parangiodontium album. I only read these words, and like when I'm reading them in a sentence, it's like, okay, that's what it's called. That's cool. But then ask me to say it, it's like, fuck. But this one eats plastic, which I don't know if you knew this, but plastic waste is a big deal.
At the end of that sentence, I don't think he knows what he said either.
You want me to say it again? Plastic waste is a big deal. So that's what I learned about fungi and bacteria out there just doing God's work. Because
what's cool about that? What's really cool about that is the one you had mentioned previously. You said that it eats up radioactive waste. Is that what you were saying it does?
Yeah.
So that's dope
like
for fucking that's dope for nuclear energy, dude. Like if you can find a way to harness the power of that fungus, it takes away so much of the issues that people have with nuclear energy, which is what we want.
Maybe because the waste is just that, it's waste. I don't think it's really producing energy.
I understand that, but like people, what's one of the objections to nuclear power? Obviously, the big one is the fact that if there's a meltdown, it could cause a really fucking big problem. But the other one is like, well, what do we do with the waste? And it's like, what people don't understand.
We got some mushrooms that'll eat it, right?
Well, even if we didn't,
we still want to avoid the waste in the first time.
Yeah, well, what people don't understand is that like you and I in like a 100-year lifetime, like if we say we live for 100 years. We would produce like a Coke can's worth of nuclear waste as individuals. So extrapolate that over 8 billion people. You're looking at waste that takes up about the size of like a few football fields stacked like 50 feet high.
Maybe. I don't know the value of that. 8 billion
it's not ideal.
Is a lot.
But it's not a lot of space though. It's just not a lot of space.
Right. But if it was the size of Ohio, even then I'd be like, we can weigh our options here.
8 billion Coke cans is not the size of Ohio.
Dude,
there's probably 8 billion Coke cans floating around right now somewhere.
Hey Siri.
I don't know. Maybe it's not football fields, but it's not a lot of space.
Size of volume for 8 billion Coke cans.
She's going to give you some fucking link you have to click on.
Why is she trying to give me pharmaceutical drugs?
Whatever. It doesn't matter. Either way, it kind of solves that problem, this fungus, right? It solves the nuclear waste problem.
We're going to ask GPT.
Oh, it's OpenAI. We shouldn't be using that product anymore. They're out there offing whistleblowers, allegedly. That's not the official story. The official story is that the guy killed himself, but it's amazing how people that are going to cost corporations billions of dollars from talking end up dead. Interesting.
I just used
Tinfoil
a
hat.
whole water bottle of energy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I said, what is the volume size of 8 billion Coke cans? Give me an example for reference. So that would be, for reference, imagine the volume of 1,136 Olympic-sized swimming pools.
Yeah, that's not the size of Ohio. That's not even close. It's like a city, maybe the size of a city.
Yeah. Well, so a swimming pool is what, 100 meters by 50 meters? An Olympic swimming pool?
Yeah. You've seen an Olympic swimming pool before.
I did swimming in high school. That's why I knew
Yeah.
the dimensions.
Oh.
I had to swim
Oh.
that a lot. But yeah.
Did you swim against girls?
No.
That's just a stupid Leah Thomas joke. I'm an idiot. Doesn't matter.
Wah, wah, wah. That's
That one
okay.
fell flat.
It just I just didn't catch the reference. There's probably a niche audience out there that thrives on Leah Thomas jokes. Anyways, yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's still, that's way less space than what our energy takes up for waste wise.
Yeah.
You know, like
Zero emissions.
There's
Gotta
this
love
whole climate, there's this whole climate change thing going on, and there's a lot of waste from those. And it talks when it comes to deforestation and all that stuff, but yeah, you don't really hear them talk about nuclear energy with the waste of that. So, sorry,
It's just too expensive.
I'm
Corey.
filibustering.
No, it's just too expensive. I was just going to get into my things learned. My things learned is I learned that I don't think I want to consume pornography anymore.
Oh, well, that's good for you, man.
Dude, I watched that YouTube documentary about the British OnlyFans star that fucked 100 guys in a day. And you watch this film, you're not going to want to watch porn anymore. All I wanted to do was go scoop this girl up and just like give her a hug and like take her to her dad's house and be like, don't ever let her leave again, because it was wild.
Ignorance is bliss, so I'm not going to watch it.
It's you don't see anything. In fact, it's on YouTube, so it's kind of annoying because they literally cut out like everything that could be construed as a curse word. So like, and they didn't show like, not that I need to see these things, but it's kind of annoying to see like the blurs on the screen. They like blurred out condoms like in the wrapper. Like you can't see they wouldn't show you condoms in the wrapper. She's got fucking.
They show fourth graders in elementary school that.
She's got like all her sex toys strewn about the bed, and it's just like a mattress that's just one big blur because it won't show any of the sex toys.
Because it's on YouTube, that's why. If it was on Netflix,
yeah. So it was it was you felt bad for this girl, except for the fact that she's probably pulling in like $300,000 a month, and after this documentary, she's probably like the most famous OnlyFans model at this point. But
what's her name?
What the fuck is her name? Lily.
For
something.
research purposes, Dan. I need to know the name. Damn it!
I don't have it in front of me. Lily
I don't
something.
Really care. I was just kidding.
Her Lily Phillips, I think it's Lily Phillips. Some generic last name. But yeah, I saw this and I went, I don't think I want to do this anymore. But then I'm also sitting here going, this is one of those things that like makes me appreciate what OnlyFans is a little bit more, because what it does is it gives these women the ability to control everything when it comes to the sexual content that they put out. They're not like they're not being exploited nearly as much by, porn makers, whoever.
Yeah. You're only going as far as you're willing to go. And,
yeah, but they also had,
you only make as much content as you want to make.
So they interviewed another OnlyFans model, and she was talking about like the wormhole that you fall into if you get into this. Cause like, she's like, yeah, it starts off with like, hand bra stuff, or, like just like mostly pretty innocent, but racy stuff. And then as you get more followers, you start getting like weirder and crazier requests, and you feel the need to do it because, you love the money. So she did kind of explain how there is sort of like an exploitation aspect to to OnlyFans. The difference is you get to make the choice. I mean, you can decide not to do those things. And even Lily Phillips, she was talking about some fucking weird shit that she does for some of her requests. And but she's like, yeah, I have boundaries. Like, I have things I'm not going to do, but she does most things. So I don't know. It was one of those things where I'm like,
yeah, see, I wouldn't make a lot of money on OnlyFans just because it's, strictly no butt stuff.
Yeah. You gotta do butt stuff, or there's just no point.
Plus, I don't know. Bullshit. Like, seeing myself do it, those videos I have, they're special to me. I don't share them with anyone.
I mean, we always make the jokes about, I mean, not we, but like men in general, about like, well, yeah, not making enough money. I guess I gotta get my wife to sell her feet on OnlyFans.
I've never made that joke, Dan. That's disgusting.
I said men in general.
I was just kidding. I just thought that would be a funny response.
You're just far too much of a gentleman.
These idiots.
But yeah, that's what I learned. I'm kind of a little bit more grossed out by porn than I was yesterday. Yeah. All right.
You just have to go back to using your imagination, pretending you're with your 9th grade teacher in the gym.
Yeah. I forget what she looks like most days, but sometimes I remember.
That's when you use your imagination.
Yeah. It's spending bill season, Corey.
It is. We started to talk about this.
We did just a little bit.
Then we started talking about fungus and porn.
Yes, we did. That's our show.
And the name of the title of this episode is "Do Not Pass This Bill."
Good night, everybody. So the spending bill, what is it? What are they calling it? CR, whatever the number is these days, because it just changes when they introduce a new spending bill. Was it 1,500 pages? Something like that? Where did I had it in front of me? There it is. 1,500 page spending bill. They do this every year, and people freak out about it every single year. Now, listen, in principle, I'm with you guys. Like, don't do this. Don't pass this bill and let the government shut down. And people go, well, it's not good if the government shuts down. And I go, why? And they go, because then the government shut down. Okay, don't threaten me with a good time. I'm totally cool with it. They can't actually name the things that would happen that are so bad if the government does shut down.
That's because these shutdowns are always like, I guess, what the government deems frivolous. What's like in Michigan, it's not a big deal because, our utilities are privatized and everything's run by the state, which is in most states anyways. We're talking about the federal government, but you don't get to go to a federal park, a national park.
Okay.
I know that.
Government employees don't get paid. Well, here,
the mail still gets delivered. The mail still gets delivered.
Stop working for the government. I mean, you could do that. Find a better job. You don't like your job, you just get out.
Or our government could just be efficient and do its job.
Yeah. So
that's a radical idea, I guess, but just get like it's so goddamn frustrating that like this bill that's being passed under pressure, right? Because it was pushed to the last minute. That was pushed to the last minute, and it was how many pages you said?
1,500.
1,500 pages. So we're expecting on December 18th, 427 people to independently read a fucking Lord of the Rings novel.
Or two of them.
Two of them in 7 days. Go through it, fact check, do all the work that they need to do, right? To make sure that like this bill says that it's going to generate this amount of wealth for the country. Yeah, it says it. Can you,
Corey,
can you vote on that? So
7 days is generous. Try 72 hours.
Right. So we now have this bill that's 1,500 pages that's funding our government that nobody knows what it's fucking even funding. And it's Vivek Ramas apparently already read it. I believe that. That's what I was saying. Like it's doable, but it's just, expecting 427 people that are doing this while they're also working on other bills and trying to get elected. Vivek isn't somebody who's like focused on trying to run the government. He's a private citizen right now who has a company that's run, you know what I mean? Like I guess it's different. But we can expect all these people to vote on this bill because they know if the federal government shuts down, they're going to get blamed for it. So they're under this ultimatum to just pass it. And you have 427 fucking people doing this. And no one really, like, everyone knows what some parts that are in it and stuff. There'll be the clickbait, but it's like, what the fuck?
Well, and we already have that, right? And we do this every year, and then people like magically forgot that it happened the year before. And the freak out over this bill is it's just simply for the wrong reasons. It should be shot down just in principle. It won't be. But what's all over Twitter right now? If you go search "do not pass this bill," what you see is a plethora of people that I have to assume are mostly Trump supporters, but that's neither here nor there. They're freaking out about the wrong thing because they can't do 10 minutes worth of research. So many of the posts that I saw were that this bill says that it's going to give Congress a 40% increase in pay, right? That sounds ridiculous. It's not 40%. If you see this on social media, I want you to know this is wrong. It's not 40%. It's 3.8%. Should they get a 3.8% increase? No,
Probably
I don't
not.
think they should. I don't think they should get any increase. But all you have to do...
They shouldn't be giving themselves a bonus when they're trying to scramble to pass a bill that just keeps them operating.
Well, they have to. The cost of living has gone up, Corey. Corey,
Like,
$174,000 is not enough. It's not enough for cost of living in Washington, D.C.
There's what? Like, it could be easily guessed. There's 400 million Americans, right?
Not quite.
Like, okay, that's 350 million Americans. That's probably what? I want to say like 1 million families. Right.
Sure.
I think, yeah, 100 million families. Sorry. 100 million families that are all at home balancing their checkbooks every single goddamn month. Some aren't doing so hot, but they actually lose out on the game. They lose their house. They lose whatever. But there's tens of millions of families that every month are balancing their fucking checkbooks, combing through it, checking out their finances, making sure that the lights stay on, phone bills paid, don't lose their home.
We can
or else.
The government can't, though.
But the government can.
Yeah. And that's the part that you
and they
be frustrated
literally almost seems like by design, they set themselves up because like we said, Thomas Massey 3 months ago was literally on the floor and he said, this stopgap bill, there was a stopgap bill a couple months ago to just make the government fund itself until this bill came. And he comes out and he says, all this bill is doing is just punting the ball down the field. And it's going to come up about 2 weeks before Christmas. And everyone's going to be itching to get home to see their families and see their loved ones. And it's going to be a big fat bill. And no one's going to have the time to actually go through it and actually vote on it in good faith or negotiate it, because if the bill fails, they have to stay. So everyone feels pressured to just pass this bill and go home.
Yeah.
He said that 3 months ago.
And that's
exactly what's happening right now.
And that's why, in principle, yeah, we should be upset about this every year. But what do we get? We get this 40% bullshit. Because all you have to do... The fear-mongering
of the government shutting down and just bullshit misdirected highlights like a 40% thing.
And all you have to do is take 5 minutes to research where this 40% number comes from. Because there was a bill from 1992. Hang on, let me find it. Here we go. Here we go. A bill from 1992 that gave gave Congress the right to give itself a cost of living raise every single year. And where that 40% comes from is that there's the number being thrown out there is a $243,000 salary for Congress. That's what their salary would be, which would be a 40% increase had they taken that cost of living increase every year since 1992. They haven't done that. I mean, hey, thanks Congress for not taking your bullshit pay raise every year.
Well,
we
they
feel
make
so
it
much better now.
trades, so they don't need to worry about that.
But still, like, dude, to take to social media and be like, this bill says that Congress is going to get a 40% increase in pay is just it's a lie, and it pisses people off, and it's a distraction for the wrong reasons.
When in reality, it's bills like this that pass things through. Like there's a headlight hotline that is government funded, I believe. And you could look it up and fact check me if you want real quick while I'm talking about it. But there's a headlight hotline government number. And to operate this costs millions of dollars, and they get barely any calls. Another example is the Traffic Cone Museum. And it costs millions of dollars to operate this, and it gets bare minimum visitors. And it's like,
you want to talk about some of the highlights in this bill when you're done with your point?
Yeah, we can. But did you look up the
I couldn't find anything.
The headlight hotline number? How to install a headlight hotline?
I think it's more of I think that's a state-run thing, but whatever. Either way, doesn't really matter. Yeah, but that's the whole, like, that's the Doge thing, right? Like, that's the whole, hey, let's get rid of some of this bullshit that nobody needs, along with other things. But some of the key points from this bill: disaster relief, $110 billion in disaster aid, including $29 billion for FEMA's disaster relief fund, $8 billion for federal highways and roads, and $12 billion for community development block grants. I mean, on the surface, none of that sounds too terrible. I mean, if you're a libertarian, you probably still have issues with it. But, like, of the things that we should be upset about, none of those probably are in there. Farm assistance, $21 billion in disaster relief for farmers and $10 billion in economic assistance. Telehealth extension, extending telehealth flexibility under Medicare through 2026. Medicare changes, a 2.5% payment increase for doctors and extensions for several Medicare programs. That's got to be the doctors' lobby doing that, including increased payments for low volume hospitals and ambulance services. This one's real fun. RFK Stadium transfer. Don't know if you know what that is, Corey, but that is the football stadium in which the Washington Commanders play their NFL games. Transfers administrative jurisdiction over the RFK Memorial Stadium campus to Washington, D.C. to facilitate the return of the Washington Commanders football team. That's in a spending bill. That's actually in a spending bill.
To change the name back. Wait, what was that?
So it transfers the administrative jurisdiction to DC proper, or to the city of DC, or whatever you would call it. So DC will be the administrative head of RFK Stadium. The Baltimore Bridge rebuilding. I'm sorry, RFK Stadium is the place that they used to play. They're trying to bring them back there. Baltimore Bridge rebuilding. The federal government commits to paying the entire cost of rebuilding Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge. And finally, the one everybody loves, pay raise for Congress, allows an automatic cost of living increase to lawmakers of 3.8%. It's about $6,600 a year, because $174,000 wasn't enough. We got to get it up to 180, because this inflation, Corey.
Times are
inflation,
tough.
It's just too much.
Times are tough.
$180,600 would be the. Now, this is the first pay raise they've taken since 2009, Corey. So they're due. They're due.
I'm trying to find the headlight thing. It might not have been headlights.
It's okay. Your point's still taken.
I'm stuck because I don't want to sound like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's how we got the slogan, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. Neither of us know what the fuck we're talking about. Oh, anyway. Yep. Spending bill season. Stop freaking out. Congress isn't getting a 40% pay raise. That's just stupid. If you see that, tell the person who posted that they're an idiot, because they're an idiot. They're just a little bit dumber than we are.
But yeah, anyways, what I was saying is
this bill, more to add.
Yeah. What I was basically getting at is like bills like this constantly pass things that cost just stupid amount of money that could be used more efficiently, especially when you have issues like the city of Flint in Michigan, who still doesn't have clean water everywhere in the whole city. And that was a part of the government's doing. The federal government's doing.
You said that a little bit clunkily. You said they don't have clean water everywhere in the whole city. What you mean is there are still parts of Flint that don't have clean water.
Yeah, like there's still like lead pipes. Yeah. There's still like, you know what I mean? Like there's still areas where the water isn't good, like it is in my house or your house. And this money, just the way the government just throws all of this together and just wastes money when it could just be done more efficiently, is just one of the most frustrating things. And it's done by design, and that makes it even more frustrating.
Yep.
And that's what I got to say. That's all I got to say about that.
How about, well, that's what Doge is supposed to do. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, but I think I hope that they actually do it in good faith and not just do it that helps protect their industries.
Well,
like there's a lot of safety regulations with cars that I'm sure Elon would love to just nix, like data collecting on car accidents, because Teslas right now are like crashing a lot and stuff.
Yeah, he wants to shut down. He wants to shut down some sort of reporting service about self-driving car accidents, because like most of them are Teslas.
Right.
So yeah. He's like, I don't think I like this very much. No, I don't have a lot of hope for it. I think a lot of it is going to be the things that.
And what industry was Vivek in?
You know, I forget. Chris might know if he's still watching. I had it on the tip of my tongue and I can't remember.
Oh, hey, Chris.
Yeah. How about TikTok in the Supreme Court? This is a bill or a law, I guess, that should also not go into effect. Thank God the Supreme Court is taking up this case, because this ban was supposed to go into place January 19th of 2025. Very convenient date, I feel,
right,
for this to go into place the day before the inauguration. I actually think I'm pretty confident that the Supreme Court is going to make the right decision on this, because this is
not block it.
Because this is absolutely a free speech issue. There is a reason so many of the powers that be in the federal government want TikTok shut down, and it's because it's not for your safety. It's not to protect your data from the Chinese. It's because they don't like what people are saying on TikTok.
Because our government,
at the end of the day,
our government sells your data just as much. Like, there was a bill, but I can't remember what it was. But something about like the data that the government collects, they can sell to private entities. It was, I think you might remember me talking about this.
Yeah, but we drink too much and can't remember what they're called.
But I can't remember what it was. But regardless, our government collects our data just as much as any foreign government would as well, right? It's just they can't control the other government's collection of your data, so they don't like it. That's what it is. They blame it on algorithms. The algorithms on there literally cater to you because it's a product. It's not some sort of surveillance thing. Like if you went on TikTok right now and literally just looked up stuff about pottery and then liked a bunch of videos of pottery, you could literally make your feed just be nothing but pottery shit for 2 seconds. You know what I mean? Like that's in 2 seconds, right? It's just, that's how TikTok works. It's a private entity. And because it's free to you, that means that you're the product, and that they literally just want to see what you like so they can cater algorithms to you, because then behind that is ads. That's all it is.
Yep. They can
They
sell
are
you
still
shit, and it
using your
works.
data. Yes, they're using your data, but it's no different than Facebook. It's no different than Instagram. It's no different than
But,
Twitter.
Corey,
it's no
it's
different than
It's the dirty Chinese. It's the dirty Chinese government that's taking that data and doing God knows what with it.
our government's doing the same thing. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, big whoop. The thing is Twitter, because the algorithms are so good, that if you get on a little revolutionary or anarchist type twinge, it starts feeding you more and more information that's just going to help you solidify your argument, or it's going to give alternative narratives to different subjects that the mainstream media doesn't want you to have. There's a lot of real free speech on there. Ultimately, what it comes down to, whether it's the free speech that you agree with or disagree with, that's not up for me to decide. I think that all free speech is just that, free speech. But some people
Not
like
hate
to stifle speech. Like, some people don't like speech that doesn't cater to what they say. Your speech is on this platform as well, and this is the government coming in and going, no, you're too stupid to decipher propaganda from the stuff that you want. We have to make this decision for you. They might be collecting your data, which is just you perusing around on different websites, and then they're just going to cater better advertisements to you. No different than anyone else does. Our government collects our data so much that the suicide hotline number, that data is collected and sold.
What are they trying to sell you? Pharmaceuticals? Here, take this pill. You won't want to kill yourself anymore.
It's data collected and sold.
Yeah.
The phone calls are recorded.
Do you have confidence the Supreme Court is going to get this right?
I think they will.
They've been very, very good. The Supreme Court's been very good on free speech issues.
Well, it's not even about the free speech issue. If there's one thing that this Supreme Court, regardless if it had a liberal or conservative sway in the last 30, 40 years, the consistent thing that they've always had is siding with corporations. So,
well, there you go.
That's not always a good thing. That's not always a good thing. In this case, it will be.
Yeah.
But they sided with corporations and Citizens United.
And so many of the
free speech issue.
Exactly. They've been very good on free speech issues.
But big corporations, I don't know, scales seem a little tilted.
You don't say. Money is speech, Corey. That's what the Supreme Court ruled.
Right.
So we'll keep an eye on this one. Hopefully they get it right. I think they will.
And
I was just hoping it would get there.
You know, I could disagree with that, but it's always interesting, and I always find it fascinating how the different amendments can be interpreted so broadly. To where I am free speech advocate, 100%. But like, money is speech. There's a certain point where it's like, oof. All
right. How about
all right.
Shall we switch to the Middle East? As we I shouldn't say we, but the federal government, the one we love so much, is clearly and brazenly just setting up a war with Iran through propaganda. This was a wonderful little monologue done by Glenn Greenwald earlier this week. I'm not going to play it because it's a little bit too long, but you can go find it on his show, System Update. Glenn pointed out probably at least 5, but there might have been more ways in which it seems like the propaganda machine is setting us up to go to war with Iran over the past year or so. The latest one is obviously these drones over New Jersey. So that is what the first thing we heard. There's a mothership. There's an Iranian mothership.
It was a Republican representative, right? His name's slipping my mind, but Yeah, he said that. I have very credible sources inside the intelligence community.
I can't tell you what they are or who they
I
are.
can't tell you what they are or who they are, but they are saying there's an Iranian mothership out on the Atlantic coast that is releasing these drones, and they are coming to America.
Here's the problem with that. There's a couple problems with that. One is, these were really Iranian drones. You think they'd still be in the air?
They'd be shot down.
Because they're still in the air, I believe, as we sit here on Wednesday, December 18th. They were, at least as of a couple of days ago, until I stopped paying attention because I don't care anymore. But if they weren't, if the government didn't at least know what they were, they at least, I mean, Trump said the same. Trump came out and said the same thing because he has no filter. He'll say whatever he wants. He said the federal government absolutely knows what they are, whether they're actually government drones. It doesn't really matter. The fact is,
right? He's like, I've been president before. We know the shit.
Yeah, they'd be down. They would be down, and somebody would be on getting a fucking electric chair set up for whoever threw these things up in the air and scared the shit out of everybody. That's the latest one, right? So, like, anytime, Glenn's whole point was, like, anytime something happens, they always find a way to put, like, a propaganda spin on Iran. Another example that he gave that I thought was really good was the assassination attempt on Trump's life, the first one. What were we hearing for a few days after? There was a lot of this, was this young man hired by the Iranian government? You notice how, like, they always kind of they just slide it in. Anytime something happens, it's like, what you're doing, we see what you're doing. You're propagandizing us to make it seem like Iran is a bigger global threat than it actually is. That's what you're doing. It's not to say that they're not a threat at all, but, like, why would you do that? Why would you keep pumping this propaganda into the American people's heads? Why would you do that? There's no other reason to do that other than you're trying to set up a war with Iran. They pulled the same bullshit with Iraq right after 9/11. 3 days after 9/11, we've all heard and seen the video of George W. Bush years later talking to whatever that general's name was. His name's slipping my mind too, and he's talking about, we've decided to go to war with Iraq. And George W. Bush goes, why? Do you think they're involved with Al Qaeda? And he goes, well, no.
Oh, yeah. No, he's like, well, they don't know what else to do.
Yeah, exactly. You guys know.
Oh, man, I wish you could probably find that clip somewhere.
I'm going to see if I can find it.
Yeah. But, he basically talks about how America, after 9/11, the plan was to just try to take down Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Iran.
5 cities in 7 years, or five countries in 7 years,
and we destabilized Iraq.
By the way, General Wesley Clark was the general's name.
Did you find the video?
I'm looking for it. General Clark, and just for those who maybe haven't heard it or haven't seen it, because this is yeah, if it's going to be anywhere, it's probably going to be on Twitter because Elon doesn't pull shit down. But I'm not finding it here.
Syria just knocked down. Libya was knocked down. Afghanistan was knocked down. Iraq was knocked down. The only one was left is Iran.
And now Syria's been the latest one to fall.
Yeah, they've all fallen except for Iran. Now,
here we go.
What they've become after.
I got it here. This is actually just Dave Smith talking to Joe Rogan, but I think they're playing the video. This is like the best thing I could find for those that maybe have not heard or seen this yet. Let me get it up on the screen here. So it's just Dave and Joe actually watching this video, but it's the audio that's more important. So here we go. This should be it. This is
a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia.
I'm sorry,
Sudan,
this is General Clark. My
Iran.
mistake.
Sudan.
Yeah. And I mean, they
Of course,
haven't.
they don't show
It's
the
not
whole
like
thing.
that plan was followed perfectly to a T, but a lot of it sure was. It's like insane that this was just said, and that's not just like if we didn't have such a corrupt press, how
This
do
is
they not
almost
talk
just as
about
good
that
as the actual
every
video.
day?
Every day.
Like
Yeah.
what never come up? Oh, it's like, as we fought all of these wars, no one went, but this is exactly what I heard Mr. Four-Star General tell me was your plan, and you've never come to the American people and said this is my plan. You're just like, so, and what's really interesting about it, right, is it just reveals this the way propaganda works. Because if you think about it, we start fighting the war in Afghanistan. We're in the war in Afghanistan by late 2001. It's not till 2003 we're in Iraq, right? And then it's not till 2010 that we're in Libya. 2012 we're in Syria, and then in Yemen, then in all the, and it's like each time they had their own little propaganda story for why we had to go into this war now. And you're like, no, motherfucker, this was always planned. You decided in 2001 you were doing this. So don't tell me this is because Gaddafi's about to go genocidal, or because Saddam has weapons of mass destruction, or because Bashar al-Assad is killing his own people. It's like, no. This is just your latest little excuse now for the war that you already wanted to do. And that's how this shit really works, man. It's like they decide they want to fight these wars. Then they make up a bullshit excuse that they tell the American people. Then these weapon companies rake in hundreds of billions of dollars in profits, and babies get slaughtered. Like, that's what really happens. Like, innocent men, women, and children die, get exploded to death, starve to death, get displaced. Like, it's just the most evil shit in the world.
So that wasn't obviously the video of General Clark. We heard it at the beginning.
By
the way, I had that wrong. I think I said that we're trying to find the Bush video, but it's hard enough. But either way, same point is taken, and everything that Dave Smith said there, what we're looking at right now is this little propaganda piece about Iran. So like, when's the invasion? When's the invasion going to be? Could it happen before January 20th? I'm not going to sit here and say.
And is
yes.
Israel the ultimate proxy, and we go Israel into doing it?
I don't know, man. There's a pretty serious Israel lobby here. I think we're more their bitch than they are ours in most scenarios. But yeah,
maybe not. Like, if we planned in 2001 to take down Syria, and then we just had Israel do it.
Yeah. So, I mean,
and then all of a sudden Al Qaeda was our friend, which is another terrorist group that we created based off of. No. Bin Laden was the Taliban, right? Or was he Al Qaeda?
Al Qaeda.
He was Al Qaeda, yeah. Which used to be the Mujahideen, which is a group we helped create in the very beginning. And then they went rogue. And then now this offshoot of that rogue group is our friend again. HST. I don't know his full name. I know that's his initials. That's what they call him.
Yeah. And so now we're in this spot where suddenly we're getting these sprinkles of propaganda, these anti-Iran propaganda. And to your point, Corey, that kind of brings us to the next point, which is something you have.
Anyone ever thought about just leaving them alone?
A lot of people have thought about just leaving them, but we can't do that. It's
leave them
world
alone.
security.
We've been fucking with them since the 50s.
How dare you? How dare you? This is for American safety, Corey Walsh.
Well, I think it was like 56 or something like that when we
something like that
completely just overseen and like fucked up their democratically elected presidency and helped with a coup and put a big like king in charge basically, and just so we could exploit their oil, and they just haven't trusted us since.
I can't.
And they probably like there's nothing we could do now to make them trust us. So where it's just like all we could do is be like, hey, we fucked up. We're just gonna leave you alone, dude. Leave us alone. We'll leave you alone.
And that's what's so funny about like.
And they would probably be like, all right, cool. Thanks.
That's what's so funny about the Bush piece when he was having that conversation with General Clark. When you brought this up because I forgot what he said, but when you said he was like, we don't know what else to do. We don't know what, like, well, and Bush is like, well, what are we going to do about terrorism? He's like, well, we don't know. We don't know how to take down terrorism, but we have a big military and we can knock out governments.
Yeah.
This is an actual conversation that took place between George W. Bush and General Wesley Clark.
And General Wesley Clark is the one telling the story, right?
In that video, in the video that that Joe and Dave were watching, yeah. But the video I was looking for was Bush at whatever that conference was. And there's like a whole crowd in the background and they're all laughing, right? They're all yucking it up about like, oh, that's so funny and silly. It's like, no, dude, you just perpetuated. All you do is sit here and you perpetuate war in the Middle East. And we're there right now. Before Trump got in there, we had to make sure we got that next country taken care of. We got Syria taken care of. And it benefited Netanyahu and it benefited the Israeli government. And this is what you have, right, Corey? You have the this idea now that not idea, this is actually happening, that the Israelis are now annexing parts of Syria. Who does that sound like? Kind of has a Lebensraum vibe to it, doesn't it? I know you're not allowed to compare the Israeli government to the Nazis that they hated so much, but that sounds very. We need more living space. Vibes,
buffer zone is what they're calling it.
Okay, yeah, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, so what's frustrating with that with me is, like Putin did the same thing.
It was bad. It was bad when it was bad when he did it. Very bad.
And I'm not saying it was good. I'm not saying
it was bad.
Good. Yeah, it was bad.
I realize I said that sarcastically, but it really was bad.
It was bad. Yeah, it's still bad. But when he does it, he's a war criminal. Sanctions. Completely cut him off. He's a pariah. Cut him off from the whole Western world.
He's going to invade Poland next.
Israel does it. And not a peep.
They're just protecting themselves. Yeah, they're just giving themselves a buffer zone from those horrible towel heads. It's just, yeah. That's a joke. I was being sarcastic. Sometimes people don't realize that. I had to qualify that.
It's just insane. It's absolutely insane. Because like the American people are actually waking up to the whole Ukraine thing. And it was like, yeah, maybe we should stop just meddling in this shit. Like, it's the cost of nuclear war. And yet we're just moonwalking into a different one. Like Iran is actively trying to make nuclear weapons because of this exact thing. But we're just pushing it along, funding it.
But no, we had to get Bashar al-Assad out because he's a bad guy who's killing his own people.
Right.
Is that really why we needed to get him out? Because it doesn't seem like that's the real reason for why we need to get him out.
I think it was another Dave Smith thing, but like they talk about all these people that were killed in Syria because of the civil war and blaming it on Bashar al-Assad. And he goes, and that's like equivalent to blaming all the people that died in the Civil War in America on Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. What he said was the way he put it was that's like leading with the fact that Abraham Lincoln had hundreds of thousands of Americans killed in the Civil War. That's what that's like. Because like, yeah, like technically that's true, but there's context there kind of thing. And it was the same with Assad. And it's not that
I think I just to be the contrarian in me wants to use that as a hot take against people just to get them fired up. Abraham Lincoln, good president. That guy killed hundreds of thousands of Americans.
That's like the Daryl Cooper thing when he did that whole that weird gaslight thing, that whole gaslight thing with who the hell was he talking to? Was it Jocko, one of those guys? And I don't know if it was Jocko, but where he came out and said that Churchill was the chief villain of World War II, and he was clearly being hyperbolic, and he admits and he says he was being hyperbolic. That's one of those. You need that one.
That's a good one.
Abraham Lincoln was a terrible president. He genocided his own people, Corey. He genocided all these Americans. all these innocent Southern Americans that were just trying to go for states' rights.
He targeted them based on like either like just that based on their geographical location.
God, what a piece of shit that Abraham Lincoln was. Yeah, I'm kidding. God, geez, you have to say these things.
You know that
There's so much of our show that would just not clip well. It would really make us look like shit.
oh fuck, I forgot the assassin's name.
John Wilkes Booth?
Yeah.
What a hero.
I'm glad you said it.
What a hero.
Oh man, that's funny.
He was just trying to protect states' rights, Corey. That's all he was doing.
He's the equivalent to our modern day Luigi Mangione.
Yeah, right. Just trying to get rid of the corrupt union government.
God damn it.
Anyway, yeah, that's the thing that's happening. Israel is annexing parts of Syria. Do you have the numbers on like how much land they've taken?
Foreseeable future. No, I don't. I don't have anything like that in front of me. I think it's like the Golan Heights region.
Yep. Okay.
And
well, then you know what their excuse is? They have to take it because if they don't have the Golan Heights, well, then it's just going to be so much easier for terrorist attacks on Israel. And then it's like, okay, now you have the Golan Heights, so can't they just go to the next region back? And then you have to then take that.
Right. Because then now they just attack the Golan Heights. So now you gotta take land to protect the Golan Heights.
Yeah. It's amazing how that works, doesn't it? Sounds like Lebensraum to me, but I don't
Flag on the play. Encroachment. 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what
we
it
have
is.
to be clear.
Encroachment.
We have to qualify.
We just need NFL refs just everywhere.
Yeah, but they'd make the wrong call way too often. Which is maybe what we need. Fucking Israel.
Think of an example where it would be
pass interference on the offense.
Right. Ineligible receiver.
Yeah. Ineligible receiver downfield. What else?
You got to move back 5 yards.
What else do we have, Corey? We got the OpenAI guy that was suicided, but I just don't really have a lot of info on that. All I know is that he was a guy that blew the whistle on OpenAI for copyright infringement, and apparently it's the kind of thing that would completely destroy the AI industry and how it operates. So you can kind of see why certain people with power in the AI industry would maybe want this guy dead. Although the cops do say no foul play, as usual. Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. It kind of seems like he might have been suicided. I need a suicided, perhaps. I don't want to be the tinfoil hat guy on this one, but it's awfully convenient.
That's why we need them. We need to have tinfoil hats. I've been saying it for 2 fucking years now.
That's the thing, though. You have to take those things into consideration, because when it's just so convenient for a lot of powerful people that somebody dies, you'd be ridiculous not to ask questions, especially a 26-year-old man who died alone in his apartment, or I don't know if it's an apartment, but his house. I think you'd be silly not to ask questions.
Yeah.
You got anything else? Christmas is next week.
Yeah.
Are we
allowed to having a wonderful Christmas time?
Yeah, a little bit shorter episode. Not our best work, but they can't all be winners, Corey.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Oh, the Duke lacrosse accuser came out and admitted that she lied. Did you see that?
Wait, that's the one that said she was raped by the whole team, right?
Or not the whole team, but a group of white guys on the Duke lacrosse. By the way, the entire team was white except for one guy, and he was the only one. The token black guy on the team was the one that wasn't investigated because she said it was all white guys.
Could you imagine being him and you just going, Jesus Christ, thank God I'm black.
Right? Like, that's like the first time ever that it really, wow, it really paid to be black on this one. But yeah, she She's in prison, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
Why is she in prison?
She I don't know why she's in prison, but not long after the Duke lacrosse players were acquitted, she was arrested or charged for like beating up her boyfriend. There was a few things that she did. I don't remember which reason that she's in prison, but she's obviously a real winner.
Jesus, like I don't even think that happened. Like what, early 2010s,
2006.
My God, because I remember vaguely hearing about that, but like it just being off my radar because I just didn't give a shit about current events or politics or anything. I mean, that's not necessarily politics, but it was a current event. But I remember being on. I remember stuff being on the TV about it a lot, and me not paying any attention to it. But it's still like,
yeah, dude, it was everywhere. Everybody was talking about it. It was Nancy Grace, of course, got all wet over it. Had to flip her cushion every time she got on the air every night to talk to people.
It's one of the last large cultural bonding things in America, wasn't it? Before everyone kind of went into their own silos on the internet.
Yeah, because I mean, social media was still pretty new at that point. You had MySpace,
but that wasn't on MySpace.
No, MySpace was so dumb. Like dumb in a good way, though. Like dumb in a distracting way. It was just like there was like drama over who was in your top 4 or your top 6 or whatever 8. It was.
Unless you knew HTML. I could code you a top 32. I could code you a top 120.
I was gonna say, yeah, like then people
I don't remember any of it now.
Then people learned how to code a little bit, and you could change it from a top 8 to like a top whatever. And if you were if you remove somebody from it, they'd be all mad at you. Mm-hmm. Remember that? Like, why'd you take me out of your top 8? Why'd you take me out? Stupid fucking drama.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Like I remember in 11th grade, I was like on an upward trend, sort of climbing the social hierarchy and just becoming more like sure of myself, more confident and all that, and started hanging out with like the prettier girls and stuff like that, and like going to like the parties and stuff. And I remember all of a sudden one of the kids who was pretty popular in school, like really popular, and I was just on like MySpace just posting random shit or something, and he messaged me or whatever, and he was like, "Hey, yo, I'm looking to put some people in my top 8. Think you made it." And I remember like just being like this like fucking 15-year-old kid going, "Oh my God, like I made it. I'm one of the popular kids." It's just so funny because it's so trivia, but like back then it was like a big deal.
Yeah, man. You were somebody if you were in somebody's top 8. You were fucking somebody.
Top 8s.
Dude, there was a lot of drama that came from that top 8.
Right. People would get in arguments. People
and
like your boyfriend or girlfriend had to be the first one, the chick you were talking to.
No, like that's how you would break up with a chick. Like you just take her out of your top 8.
Not only would they break up with them, they would also change their MySpace song.
Oh yeah, it would usually
be
something.
You remember there would always be passive aggressive battles on MySpace profiles with the songs.
Yeah, that's right.
Like I remember a girl would a boyfriend would cheat on his girlfriend with another girl, and then that girl would like
or a guy.
Yeah, but then that girl would like make her song like "Bitch You a Hoe" or something like that. And then the other girl would respond with like that song, I got your boyfriend. Like it would just be like, "Ooh, I got your boyfriend. I got your man." Like it would just be fucking art. Yeah, dude, MySpace was wild.
That's some trailer park shit right there, Corey.
That was high school shit. That shit didn't happen in your high school. Your high school class, your high school class was also a lot smaller than mine.
We knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody.
Yeah. My high school had like
do we just get all nostalgic about MySpace for like 5 minutes?
MySpace was fucking cool, dude. Fuck y'all.
It might be the gayest thing we've done on the show.
Wait, we've never kissed.
Oh, wrong way.
Yeah. Oh, just kidding. Oh. For the people just listening, me and Dan, obviously, we look like the fucking Brady Bunch with our two windows next to each other, and we were both leaning into the middle.
It's just a crackerjack operation we have going on here. Do you want to see? Did you see how Trump wants to was talking about daylight savings time the other day, and it might have been yesterday, honestly, and everybody was freaking out about that. I am amazed at how many people don't really understand the concept of daylight savings time. First of all, I hate it, and it's completely unnecessary now because it was invented during World War I to save kerosene, to have longer days during the summer to save kerosene. It serves absolutely no purpose now. But apparently, there's this contingent of people that want to have permanent daylight savings time, not permanent standard time, which would be fine. Permanent daylight savings time. Here's a problem with permanent daylight savings time. This is just basic fucking
Wait,
dirty
is
science.
daylight savings time is when we fall back, right?
Daylight savings time is when we spring forward. You're saving
So-
more daylight. You're getting more daylight at the end of the day. The problem with it is if you have permanent daylight savings time, Corey, there's going to be parts of the country in the winter months that don't see a sunrise until almost 10 a.m.
That's like us.
10 a.m. Sunrise at 10 a.m. No. The sun doesn't rise that late.
Yeah, like here right now, the sunrise is probably around like what would you say, like 7:30, 8?
Yeah, something like that.
It'd be like
You
9.
can check AccuWeather; it'll tell you. But yeah, like if you have spring forward on the shortest day of the year, the winter equinox, there are parts of certain time zones. There are parts of all the time zones that are not going to see a sunrise until damn near 10 a.m. Nobody wants that. If you have permanent standard time, okay, so we don't have 10 p.m. sunsets during the summer. So did I say equinox? By the way, I meant winter solstice. In June, you're not going to see a 10 p.m. sunset anymore, but the days are still going to be long as fuck. Like, I'm all right if the sun goes down at 9 o'clock. It's okay. Like, I don't need it out till 10. So, yeah.
Right. And then the sun's
Permanent
coming up at
standard
5 a.m. instead of 6.
Permanent standard time. That's what we want. Not permanent daylight savings time. That wouldn't be good. Fucking kids.
I remember
walking
in the
to school.
fall, it'd be cool as fuck when you go to the bar on the fallback day. And then it'd be when 1 o'clock, when it would hit 2 o'clock, it'd fall back to 1 o'clock, and you get an extra night at the bar drinking. And then
that's you are a degenerate,
that was like 10 years ago.
or you were a degenerate, but so was
And then
I.
yeah, people could change. But but when you went out on the night that you sprang forward, you had to drink twice as fast because you lost an hour.
I didn't like.
I had more fun on those nights.
No more daylight savings time. Let's just be done with it. We don't need it. It fucks with my equilibrium every year.
I'm sleeping through it when it changes anyways. It doesn't make a difference to me.
Yeah, but man, when that fucking spring forward happens and you lose that hour, dude, it takes me a week. It takes me a week or more to recalibrate.
Really? Just go to bed an hour earlier.
Okay. You ever heard of a circadian rhythm, Corey? Jeez.
I don't know. I fall asleep when I'm tired, and then I wake up at 4:10 every day for work, and it seems to work overall.
So going to sleep and then waking up works really well for you?
Yeah.
Good job.
I'm doing the least amount of work when I do that. I don't need praise.
Oh, fuck yourself.
No, I just, like everyone always talks about, like there's that rare small amount of people who can sleep on get like a good amount of sleep on 6 hours or whatever. But most people need 7 or 8. I'm usually a 6-hour night guy. Because even on the weekends when I'm up to like 3, I'm still waking up at like 9, 10 o'clock.
I need my sleep, Corey. I need it. I need every minute of it.
Well, thank God that the government hasn't mandated our sleep hours yet, because this is two different intricate scenarios.
It's coming. It's coming. If those Democrats get back in office.
Oh, that fucking government is coming for you, bud. All right, I think we're filibustering, Dan.
We are. Let's tell the people where they can find us. I got to piss.
Libservative Podcast is found on all social media and podcast platforms. Our website is libservativeshow.com. We can be found at Libservative on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Instagram and Twitter, LibservativePod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libservative Podcast, and you can reach out directly at libservativepod@gmail.com. Subscribe today.
And we will, Corey and I decided before the show tonight, we will have a show next week. Next week is Christmas, so we obviously will not be here on our typical Wednesday. We're thinking Thursday. We're thinking just pushing it back a day. But we will have a show for you next week. It's just maybe going to fall on a little bit different time. So look for us there. And tell a friend. Word of mouth. It matters. We need you. We miss Bell. Hopefully he'll be back with us next week. He, as always, has been Corey Walsh.
He's Dan Griffin.
It's been Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. Everybody have a wonderful Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever the hell it is that you celebrate. And until next time, we are out of here.